The texts from Yankee fans, the comments from Yankee fans, or even Met fans getting upset on day one is absurd to me about Juan Soto.
A lot of people jumped in. You knew they would. This was the story. Listen, I'll tell you this. If the Mets have a chance beginning tonight with men on and Soto at home plate, you'd sign up for that script basically for the next 162 games. You really would. Now, from our perspective, I didn't want to see him rip at gappers. No way. I didn't jump into the nonsense on social. I don't care. I didn't text you about it. I didn't text Hoff. I don't care. He's a Met. He's a great player. Mets had a rough game in some other spots, but the Soto reaction, while I can't say that I'm surprised because of the emotion it's been a 3-4 month ride with both sides of town, Juan Soto's a beast, and he's the least of their concerns.
Yeah, it's funny, though. Like I could understand, like, Yankee fan friends poking fun or whatever, things like that, but there is a sense of, first of all, if you're a Yankee fan yesterday and you're worried about Juan Soto, what he does, and talking trash, you just aren't. You're acting like the Met fan used to act. That's a little brother type move. But forget that, because I don't even want to get caught up in that nonsense. It's just about Juan Soto. And from my perspective, as a Met fan who's wanted Juan Soto, I have never been this excited for a player. Mike Piazza was close. This is a different animal. And sitting there, instead of wondering what this player was going to do in a big spot or how he was going to look in this big spot, we all know that there's no doubt about what Juan Soto could do in the biggest of spots in New York. That's all been proven. So it was more sit back and enjoy the ride. Obviously, disappointment that he didn't get the job done right out of the gate. Think of the dramatics. I'd rather him do it in October than in March, and I know he will do it in October, and even more motivated after he gets beat by that. But if there's a Met fan out there, and I know that there are some, Soto, like the overreaction, if you're looking for me to say that, you're not getting that from me. I love Juan Soto. I love everything about him. The guy was on base 3 out of 5 times yesterday. Even in the at-bat that Hader did get him, he still had a good at-bat. It was a nasty pitch. You tip your cap, you move on. You try to go get a win tonight, but I don't think you could be more excited for an individual to be on your team than Juan Soto. And the number one reason for me, we talk about the sackometer. We've done that before. Mm-hmm. There's not a player in the sport that I would rather have, and I know you and I disagree with this, whether it's Judge, Ohtani, whatever. There is not a player in the sport that I would rather have than Juan Soto because of the intangibles, because of the sack that Soto possesses.
He's got a little elephantitis. No, it's sack drag. It's dragging.
You know
I get it. I understand. I just want to make sure I have this clear. I saw some stuff on social media. Now, forget about the Yankee fan jumping in, all right? Are you telling me that there's actually a fair amount of Met fans? I don't mean expressing disappointment. I mean, that's a given. First game, guys on base, chance to do something, strike out. Oh, and you can tell by his body language. I watched his post-game reaction, too. He's so badly, that's why he expanded the zone. He so badly wanted to deliver. I get it, came up a little short there. He's Juan Soto. That's not going to happen much. But are there really... I guess what I'm trying to say, there's a difference between being disappointed and crushing Juan Soto.
Right, which I am, by the way, is disappointed in the result.
Of course.
Obviously.
Are people actually crushing Juan Soto? We had already gotten to the point where people are wondering if he's worth the money, the investment. Is the stage too big? Can he do this without Judge behind him? Is he really this good? After one at bat? Yeah. There's no way.
Look, I'm not reading the social media comments. I heard Evan get upset about it on his podcast. You heard Boomer talking about the needle mover thing. And I'm sure that there are fans out there that were disappointed with that and saying, you're expecting to get it done every single time, or at least in every big spot.
Not in baseball. That's not how it works in baseball.
He didn't do it with the Yankees every single time, but he will do it more often than not, and he will do it in the biggest of spots, in that particular spot. And by the way, you mentioned something there that I think is important. I would rather... See, maybe it'd be a different story today if Soto walked and passed it to Alonso. Then we'd be ripping Alonso, and I would be telling Soto, bro, swing the bat. I would rather them lose the game with Soto swinging than have them pass the baton to Alonso and lose the game. Now, I would have liked the drama of seeing Pete up in that spot, seeing what he could do, but the feeling that I have watching Soto versus what I would have had it's two totally different things.
It's a different level.
Yeah, I expect Soto to get the job done. With Pete, I'm curious to see how he's going to respond.
Yep, I get
spot.
it. Listen, I get it. I think Pete's going to have a good year. The offense for the Mets, and there are a lot of things to unplug from yesterday, and we'll unplug it all. We'll do the Yankees later as well. The defense, a little shoddy. Obviously, the starting pitching didn't get the job done. Looking at the lower third of the lineup and some of the names, I'm like, I know Alvarez is hurt, but I don't love the lower third. I do think that there's things you can take away from the game and say, all right, how will this manifest itself during the season, positively or negatively? But to fix it, I don't want to say to fixate on Soto's wrong, because it's Juan Soto. He is a needle mover, Booms. I'm sorry. I love you, Boomer. But, yeah, he moves the needle. So I get why we're talking about Soto. But to think that Juan Soto will be a problem for the Mets this year is one of the dumbest things I could possibly hear.
Well, I don't think anybody thinks that he's going to be a problem. I just think that people...
Well, however they frame it.
Yeah, get
coming up small, not clutch because he's a Met or there's no Judge or there's no that. Are you kidding me? I mean, this guy is a technician. This guy is a surgeon. Memo to everybody. Baseball's tough. Memo to everybody else. Baseball's even tougher when you got Hader snapping off that 93-mile-per-hour slider that bends a foot and a half out of the zone. It ain't easy. And by the way, their starting pitcher as a lefty is one of the best in the game. So I didn't like the way the Mets looked in totality. Juan Soto, I mean, he's going to be amazing this year. Let's not be nuts here.
And he's a Met. So Yankee fans, I think, need to get over it. I'm talking to you, Uncle John, Taco Frank. These are all the texts I'm getting yesterday after one game.
You do welcome some of these texts, though. You understand. Your people want to see you get a piece of Sal. Sal put some stuff out. I don't know.
Because I said I wanted Soto. I stand by it. I still want Soto. And it just proves the point. Yankee fans are upset that they don't have him. So the one spot...
I'm good.
I'm not saying you. And maybe not even the majority. Yankees had a great day, like you said. We'll get to that. But there are still some that are clearly still hurt by this.
That's true.
Because it's Soto. I guess he didn't get the job done. What an opening day. What a finish.
That's true. That's true.
And I know I'm not alone. Evan was getting a bunch of texts from it too. So the Yankee fan chirping on one at-bat from Juan Soto. I'll take Soto over anybody in the sport. Didn't get it done yesterday? Long way to go. BT and Sal on the Fan. Our friends at Town Fair Tire remind you that at Town Fair Tire, you always get the guaranteed lowest price on name brand tires. From Connecticut to Maine, nobody beats Town Fair Tire. Nobody. Stan is in Westport, Connecticut. What's up, Stan?
Hey, guys, you hit on a lot of good points. Listen, in baseball, you're one of the greatest of all time when you fail 70% of the time at the plate, right? So, of course, it happens. Soto took responsibility. I got to give him kudos for that. So did Holmes. But to me, the moment of the day was Brett Beatty. They caught him in the dugout on the top step, clapping and egging on his rival effectively for playing time, Acuna, when he was at the plate, and totally loved the fact that he drew a walk. I mean, I thought that was an awesome moment, shows what a team means and a teammate is, and I call on Steve Cohen to hit the kid with a bonus just for that.
Oh, come on,
that was
Steve.
amazing.
Let's not spend some more money here from Steve Cohen, and thank you for the call. Acuna did have a great at-bat. The Mets showed some fight, picked up where they left off last year. For the majority of the game, they looked lifeless and couldn't score any runs. Pitching obviously wasn't good. Defense, you mentioned it. We could break all that down. We did want to start with Soto, but then they had that ninth inning and the rallies and the good at-bats. And
the at-bats got better. And that's going to be... I think that's residually that's going to be passed on to the team. Maybe not every night. I think it's going to eventually help Pete. I think it's going to help all the young players. Now, I do think it's interesting. Yeah, and again, I don't want to just make it, but if you have Judge behind you, are you a little less willing to expand the zone? Did he expand the zone because he wanted to be his first Met moment? I don't know the answer to that.
I hope that was the answer. I don't believe that it was. I think Soto was he just got beat by a nasty pitch.
Yeah.
He said it himself, hey, Pete's a good power, and I got him behind me. I don't think that had anything to do with it. I think it's a fair thing to bring up. We could certainly question it. I didn't look at that. Now, the pitch, was it the pitch before? In the at-bat, he could have had ball 4, but he swung at a high pitch. I want that. That's what I want. You're paying this guy $765 million, not to sit there and walk and pass the baton, especially to Alonso. So I'd rather that be the case. I don't think it was, because I'm going to take him at his word saying that I could have taken a walk there and passed it to Pete. Time will tell. There are going to be spots, BT, like that he is going to walk, and then it's going to be on Pete Alonso to show what he's got.
I know. And listen, of the players on the Mets right now, Pete's got more, obviously Soto, the contract. Pete's got more to prove than anybody.
Right.
He really does. For a lot of reasons.
Vientos, Nimmo in the category as well. We'll get to those guys.
I'm not saying there aren't others, but for me, Pete's first.
BT and Sal, the fan. Gio is in New Brunswick. What's up, Gio?
Hey, bud.
What's going on, man? So
What's up,
happy
Gio?
for this game. Juan Soto, does he pass the baton, just like you just said, if Judge is behind him?
Don't know. I think it depends. I don't think, thanks for the call, I don't think that Soto, I don't mean for a game or an at-bat, is going to deviate very much from who he is and what he does. He's a surgeon. He's a thinker, and he's a hitting savant. And when you've got those attributes, and of course they mesh and they marry with the pure physical attributes, you're not going to suddenly morph into something that you've never been. Maybe there's a little extra energy, hey, wants to have that big moment. I get it. He's still a human being. Now, sometimes he seems like he's not, but he's so robotic in his approach, which is amazing. He's a human. But if you just tuned in, listen, if I'm a Met fan, and there were other things that I think you could worry about, which we'll hit on more as we get deeper into the show, I would sign, literally, if I was presented a contract, the next 161 games, the exact situation presents itself. Maybe not with Hader on the mound, but with the relief pitcher, Mets with a chance to do damage, and Soto in the box. Give me that every single night.
Even with Hader on the mound, I'll tell you, I just sat there and was enjoying the heck out of it. Not the result that we wanted as Met fans, but I was smiling ear to ear. I was as confident as most of the time in my fandom. In a spot like that, it's... Here we go. Outside of maybe Piazza, who generally came through in the biggest of moments. But again, you're going back, over 20 years ago, 25 years. But even then, and it was rare that he would come up, and then he came up in plenty of big spots and delivered. But this is just different. And I don't recall sitting there watching a game, smiling, saying, he's got you, Hader. You're toast. Soto's going to get you. If you go on the sackometer, whatever you want to say to clean up, Soto's number one in baseball. And that, to me, is why I love him so much and know that even though it didn't get done in this particular spot, it's going to happen more often than not. And even losing that battle, he wears it. To your point, BT, that bothered Soto.
Takes it personally.
He wanted to get it done.
Yep.
And the fact that he wasn't looking to pass the baton and be happy with a walk. I'd rather him, especially in the first game, you know what? I'm going to get acclimated to this fan base. I'm going to be the one to do some damage here. It wasn't an egregious at-bat where he was reaching and flailing. Even his at-bats, if he is expanding a little bit, it's still not looking like, wow, he was pressing there. It was a great pitch by one of the nastier relievers, lefty on lefty. Of all the spots that Soto might get beat in, that was the one.
I don't know that every great lefty is going to lay off that pitch, but I know that there's not a great lefty who's going to hit that pitch.
Right.
So if you make the decision to swing as a lefty, you might maybe flick, which is we've seen him do in the playoffs, maybe flick something foul. If you're lucky, you're not squaring that baseball up. And it's funny, too, you talk about that feeling, right? That I, as a Yankee fan, I watched Soto 1 year.
Right.
I watched his entire career. I watched him as a guy on my team for 1 year. And I wish that I could say something different than what I'm about to say, and hopefully it does change. But Aaron Judge would come up in the postseason, and I would have the emotions that you had with others, except really outside of Piazza. And I'm like, oh, come on,
just
man.
don't know,
Is he
right?
good? Come on. And just be Aaron Judge. And he's yet to be Aaron Judge in October consistently, whereas conversely, you had Soto walking up there. I'm like, we're good.
He's always going to be Juan Soto.
It's a different set of emotions and confidence.
Right.
For now.
Because he's not going to get it done every time. He didn't with the Yankees.
Nobody does.
Correct. That's the point. But he's always Juan Soto. He's always the same player. You're always going to get a great at-bat. Win or lose, succeed or fail on that at-bat, you know what you are getting. The bigger the moment, the environment, the city, the ballpark, the pitcher, lefty, righty, doesn't matter. You're always getting Soto. That's a confidence that I've never felt before watching.
Let me give you an example, one that we both went through a lot, and we love him, the big fella. Patrick goes to the foul line late in the game back in the day. Did you feel great that he was going to knock him down? I didn't from the foul line.
Right.
Whereas you watch like a Kobe or an MJ or a guy like Steph Curry, you're like, that's two. Let's keep him moving. He's going to hit them both. Like, there's just that uber level of confidence, and then there's confidence meshed with hope. And right now, for Juan Soto, there's uber confidence. Listen, it's a tough look for one game. It's one game.
Which is why I am not letting the loss get in the way of my excitement and feeling. You have had players as a Yankee fan. I don't know if I want to say similar to this because he's a different animal. Obviously, you had him last year, but Judge being a superstar, all the success in the 90s, Jeter, all those guys.
Yep.
Jeter may be a good one, too.
Yeah, he is a good one.
A good example, feeling that whenever he's up, especially in a big spot, he's going to get the job done.
Mariano coming out of the pen. It's over.
Exactly.
There's no doubt.
For the Mets to have this guy in the prime of his career, nothing can ruin it. It sucked to lose the game. Sucked that he didn't come through. It would have been great fun and a great storyline. Nice, bookend to the offseason and opening day. But nothing will ruin my enjoyment because Juan Soto is a New York Met. JJ's in Bricktown.
Soto.
Yeah. Go ahead, JJ.
What up, buddy?
Yeah.
JJ.
What's up, JJ?
Hey, what's up, guys? Sal.
Yeah.
I just really want to know, if he was on the Yankees yesterday and that happened, what would you be saying today?
I think the same exact thing. Why wouldn't I? I never did I criticize Soto at all with the Yankees outside of early on, JJ, and thank you for the call, when he walked in a big spot. And I'm saying that you want to get paid $500 million at a time, whatever it was. Yeah, I want to see you swing, especially with the Mets. At least with the Yankees, it's okay, well, Judge is coming up. I don't want anybody looking for a walk. And remember, that might have been the first week or 2 weeks into the season, so we were still learning about Soto every day, watching him every single day.
Yep.
Whereas if you have the mindset of a player where, I'm just going to be happy to take my walk and not worry about coming through in a big spot, that's not him. I would have an issue with that. He certainly proved to be much more than that with the Yankees all year.
There's no doubt. The only thing, and concern is too strong, I'll keep an eye on it. I don't even think it remotely approaches this situation, but like if the Mets get off to a rough start as a team and Soto gets off to a rough start as a Met, I can't quantify what he might feel internally to elevate the situation, which to me is the only thing that could get him to deviate from his process, which is, again, surgical.
And you also think that that's very unlikely, which is
I do.
Also
I think the Mets could have some team struggles. I don't think that he's going to deviate too far from what he does.
And that's the point. Think about it. When was the last time you could say in this town that you get a player? Well, we've heard it before with the Yankees. He's the surest bet in the sport. And the Mets haven't had that. All these other guys, any big name free agent or big acquisition that they have gotten over the years, there was always the learn. Even Piazza, Beltran, those are the best of guys. Lindor, there's always that New York learning curve, getting acclimated, a little rough start.
Think about A-Rod for the first couple of years. I mean, he could get a big hit.
Juan Soto's the one guy who I don't even question. No learning curve. You know what you're going to get. Unfortunately, he got beat in a big spot. It won't happen often if it happens again. BT and Sal on the Fan will continue the conversation.